Microphone number 6, please.
Rafe Blanford, all about Symbian.
I'm sorry, I'm not seeing where you are. There you are. Sorry. Okay. I'm sorry, what was the question?
He's from All About Symbian.
You mentioned in passing that Windows Phone would be expanding, and I took that to mean into the mid-tier. I wondered if you could shed any details onto how that would happen, especially with some of the relatively strict chassis specifications at the moment.
Yeah, so part of the unique relationship here is work that we will do and that Nokia will contribute to this effort to help Windows Phone aggressively and quickly move down the price continuum, which means specific work that we have to do to consider different approaches from a technology perspective, from a go-to-market perspective, from a software perspective. We have much of that expertise from the Symbian effort, and we will be contributing that expertise to help Microsoft go down scale. So the effects of Symbian, as you correctly pointed out, are really a function of two things. They're a function of the rate at which Windows Phone comes down the price continuum, and always, always a function of consumer demand. Particularly in certain markets at certain price points, there's very good demand, very good growth of Symbian in some markets. Nonetheless, I want to go back to my original statement. Windows Phone is our primary smartphone strategy. And Steve will add to that.
Essentially, I think from a Microsoft perspective, you mentioned chassis. You can think about a lower-end chassis spec that nonetheless preserves the important integrity from an application developer perspective, but that does require, to get to the kinds of price points that we're talking about, collaboration with the silicon vendors, which we've already
begun.
Those sets of discussions, as well as the hardware-software relationship. So it's a, let's just put it this way, the Nokia engineers and Stephen himself, that was an important thing for us. They pushed us hard, and we have kind of arranged our priorities so that that fits in the context of what we do here in the very near term.
Thank you. Microphone number 1, please.
Charles Arthur from The Guardian. Does Nokia have any tablet strategy? And if so, why would you put out a MeeGo tablet, or a MeeGo device indeed, that is going to be orphaned at birth? Why would anyone buy it? How is that not just burning money?
So I'm not sure the premise on which your question is based as it relates to a MeeGo tablet or whatever, but let me say this. The relationship with Microsoft and our strategy going forward gives us different options for a tablet strategy. Clearly, we could, for example, take advantage of things that Microsoft might be planning for the future as it relates to tablets. That's one option that we could consider, but we have nothing to announce today. And at the same time, as you'll hear more about later today as we talk about our whole strategy, the third pillar of our strategic investments is in future disruptions, future platforms, future devices. And we preserve the right to have an option to introduce tablets using other platforms, other directions, including some things that we may be working on internally. So we have multiple options here, but we do not today have a specific tablet strategy that we're announcing.
But who would buy a MeeGo device that's going to be dead from its birth?
Well, I think you're answering your own question. If in fact something is dead, then it's best not to ship it. Anything we plan to ship, we will ensure that the appropriate ecosystem and support is there to make it a successful device.
Microphone number 6, please.
Mike Butcher from TechCrunch. You're live on TechCrunch.
TechCrunch, hey!
Say hi to the fans. Well, how would you, Andy Rubin of whatsoever to develop for MeeGo anymore, or Symbian, and it's now all about Windows apps? Is that not the case?
So it is the case that our primary strategy is Windows Phone, and we will be working hard to ensure that developers around the world are building applications to support that ecosystem. So that's absolutely the case. It's also the case, and you'll hear this again later today, as it relates to the low end. There are elements of smartphone technology that are being introduced at the low end of the pricing continuum. It's absolutely the case that there will be fresh and expanded investment in those environments, recognizing the need for us to compete in those marketplaces.
We have time for a couple more questions. Microphone number 3.
Yeah, Petri Saer from Helsingin Sanomat, Finland. In 2006, it was somewhere in 2006, the former Nokia CEO said that he won't rest before the situation in North America will get better, and since that, the situation in North America for Nokia has been collapsing. And at the moment, we don't have any proof that Windows Phone 7 would be successful in North America. So any idea that how this new smartphone strategy would help strengthen Nokia's situation in North America? Thank you.
Yeah, I think the critical ingredients for Nokia's and Microsoft's success in North America arise out of the strategy that we announced today. We have to deliver a complete user experience, great iconic hardware, wonderful operating system environment, supporting services to create an ecosystem, and if I may say, the support of the operators who see a third ecosystem and are willing to say, that we're going to support. So there's a lot of excitement already. As well, Nokia has had to take steps, some of which will become public during the course of today in terms of new leadership for our North American organization. These types of steps are things that we're taking to ensure an absolute focus on the North American market. As I said in my opening remarks, as part of why we believe this is good for Nokia, is we believe this gives us faster access to the US market with a contemporary offering.
Great. Microphone number 1, please.
I'm Eric Reguly with the Globe and Mail of Canada.
Oh, welcome.
Hi.
We've
Mr.
got
Elop,
Finland, we've got Canada, we've got, okay.
my question is this. Nokia's been accused of being very bureaucratic, very top-heavy, with armies and armies of vice presidents. You've talked about employee reductions. How hard hit are these vice presidents and other senior managers going to get in the new Nokia?
We don't have any specific comments on who at what level is going to be hit and so forth. The way to think about it, though, is I'm going to support your point about the need to improve the speed and nimbleness and agility of the organization. There's absolutely no ambiguity that we have to take significant steps in how we operate, the things that we do to function effectively. And so when I presented earlier this morning to all of the employees at Nokia, I went into some detail about some of the specific changes that we're making internally. Some of them have to do with organization, but the real point is, for example, about the elimination of bureaucratic structures and processes and teams and a variety of things that have been slowing us down. But of course, most importantly, to get speed, you've got to have a clear strategy. So in front of 60,000 Nokia employees earlier this morning, we laid out a very clear strategy of the 3 critical things on which we're going to focus. Again, we'll go into more details later today on those. The things upon which we're going to focus, how we're going to differentiate, and how we're going to operate differently going forward. If I may add to that, one of the things that's already evolving rapidly at Nokia is a change in attitude and behaviors that we think is important. With a clear strategy, the fighting spirit of Nokia worldwide, and certainly the fighting spirit of the Finnish people, is being brought to bear. There's an opportunity here to tap into that with a clear strategy and move forward like we haven't done in some number of years. We've been pretty vocal and transparent about some of these challenges, and I think it's having quite a positive effect as people say, I'm here to fight, and that's what we're doing.
Great. Sorry.
Just one little anecdote. Literally, the first time we talked about the fact that Nokia was going to do the strategy evaluation was sometime, I think, in the month of November. And Stephen said, we'll make a decision and be moving forward by within a couple months. I mean, I didn't know the specific day at the time, but within a few months. That struck me as quick, let's just put it that way. And we're here. And I found that quite remarkable as it relates to speed and agility.
Good.
Great. Gentlemen, on that note, we're going to close our Q&A. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. This is the end of our press conference, and those who are joining us on our webcast, this is the end of our program here this morning.